All right, welcome to Fearless Gray Live. So, good versus greater good. Have you ever thought about that? I think we always think like it's a good choice or a bad choice, but that's rarely really the case. Generally, it's good versus greater good. And I think we often don't even think of like when we have an opportunity to make a choice, like is there a greater good here? And oftentimes the greater good is, of course, the better choice because it's greater good. So what do when we're assessing is something, what is the greater good? What do we look at? I think one of the things you look at, is it you or is it like others? So if you're choosing between a good or a greater good, a lot of times the good is for you, but the greater good is for others. Another reason, there might be the reason that you're doing it. So the reason you're doing something might be good. For example, I'll take an easy example, like a book club or reading a book. Reading a book is good. But if you take it to the next level, invite others to do the book club with you, it's kind of the greater good because the reason is that you're reading this book to help or bring others into the group. And also, depending on like what the good or greater good is, kind of like what are you doing? So if we're using our book club example, like what are you reading? Are you reading something to like expand your mind and change the world? Are you reading like a trash novel, which I am not opposed to reading, right? Because it's fun and we need entertainment in our life, but and sometimes we have to make the choice of the greater good. So the greater good would maybe be reading a book that like expands your mind and inspires you to do great things. So good versus greater good. Is it for you or is it for a group? And I'm not saying good is bad, but if we're trying to push and find our passions and our purpose, we kind of have to step it up to the greater good. So is it for you or is it for a group? What is the reason behind it? Is the reason just to change your small world, or is it to change a greater world? And what is it? So like, are you just, reading a trash novel, or are you reading a book that's, going to inspire you to great things? Another way to look at good versus greater good is why we don't choose the greater good. I think one of the reasons that we don't choose the greater good is it takes us outside of our comfort zone. So if we're talking like about our book club, maybe it makes us uncomfortable to invite other people into our book club. Like, why would other people want to come into this, right? So it pushes us outside of our comfort zone. Another reason we might not choose the greater good is it's more work. So again, if we're using our book club example, like you have to organize it. You have to invite people. When people come to your house, you have to clean. You have to like make foods or treats or whatever. So you might not want to do the greater good there because it just requires more work. Another reason you might not want to do the greater good is like fear. Like maybe you're afraid to like host something like that. Like it goes against your personality. Like maybe you're shy or maybe you don't like starting things. So you have fear. So that might kind of cause you to avoid the greater good. So reasons that we might avoid the greater good are it's out of our comfort zone, that it is more work, or that we're afraid of it. And I think another reason is we don't even realize that there's a greater good we could be doing. Like, I think we're just so programmed to do what's in front of us that we don't stop and think, like, is there a greater good here that we could be doing? If we choose the greater good, like, what is the outcomes? The outcomes are that we're helping other people. So that's the first one. A lot of times when we choose a greater good, it's helping other people, which, of course, in the end, we feel better. We're planting the seeds of purpose, right? Like, as if we're trying to figure out our purpose, the first step is always to take action. So if you're taking your good to the next level, you're kind of helping you to figure out your purpose. And then the third reason would be that you're bringing joy to like the world. So not only are you helping other people by inviting them and doing the greater good, but you're bringing joy into the world. So when you're taking actions, like sometimes when the good, stand back and think, okay, is there a greater good I could be doing here? Because really in the end, that's going to kind of plant the seeds of you finding your purpose, helping other people, and overall, you're going to be happier. Anyways, have a great day. Let me know, like, when did you think you did a good, but maybe you could have taken a greater good? Or what do you think the difference is between the good and the greater good? Like, how do you make that decision? Anyways, follow, like, comment, share, and we'll see you tomorrow.